Okay, I'm going to mind map my investment decision that I just made to buy shares in Winpak. First question I usually ask myself when I'm evaluating a company and its stock is, what do they do? What do they sell? What goods and services do they sell? What's their value proposition? What makes them different than any other company? So in the case of Winpak, their business, what they essentially sell, they're essentially they're a packaging business. So any goods that need to get transported, displayed, they're going to need some kind of packaging. And so that's essentially what Winpak does. And they do packaging products, design packaging products for a variety of different different products out there. So for example, beverages, health products. So very consumer oriented. And so it's kind of funny when I think of Winpak, I think of that episode from The Simpsons where Bart went on a field trip to the box factory, and it was pretty boring and mundane and really uninteresting. And that's kind of what I think of Winpak. It's a very boring company in a sense. They just make packaging, and so it's a very unsexy company. It's not Facebook, it's not Snapchat or anything like that. Competition. Does Winpak compete with any other companies? Other companies that are out there in the similar packaging kind of area that I found were Intertape Polymer, Cascades. They're into more of the paper kind of products. Those are kind of some of the big ones. There's other ones that are smaller in nature, but those are kind of sort of the big kind of similar type companies that are out there. Next question I asked, question 3, which is who buys their product? Who are their customers? Which is pretty much any company that has goods, it has physical goods that they need to sell or transport. Are going to help be able to transport their products without them, breaking and shattering and all that kind of stuff. So those are kind of the Winpak's core customers. Then I kind of want to know: are these type of companies that are going to want to buy stuff from Winpak, are they going to come back again and again? So there's a lot of repeated business there. Obviously, if you're a business that's selling packaged goods, you're going to hopefully sell lots of those goods, and you're probably going to need a lot of packaging. So there's a lot of repeated customers that I'm sure Winpak probably is generating. The next question is, okay, it's great, but does this company make money? So when I looked at some of the numbers for Winpak, their return on invested capital, their most recent return on invested capital came in around 18%. Their cost of capital, weighted average cost of capital, came in around 8%. So it's creating, positive economic profit, which is a good thing. It's creating tangible wealth. It's a slow growth company. This is not, as I said, it's a very boring, mundane, run-of-the-mill company, but it manages to crank out, single-digit revenue growth on a year-over-year basis. It's a very slow growth company, but this is the nature of it. But it's also to a certain extent, very cyclical, because if companies are getting a lot of demand for their products, then they're going to need more packaging. Otherwise, if companies are selling less products, they're going to have lower demand for packaging. So there's a sort of cyclical element to how Winpak operates and the environment that they operate. Took a look at their balance sheet. When I looked at their current assets, current liabilities, they currently have their current ratio is about 5 times. So they have 5 times as much current assets as current liabilities. They have $200 million in cash, 0 debt, and very minimal intangible assets and goodwill. So this is a company that's been growing very much organically. It hasn't had to be really dependent upon other external financing to sustain itself, to grow and evolve. So which is a great thing you want to see as an investor. What are some of the risks that Winpak might feel? Well, as I said, that cyclicality of business is definitely a risk. But But the fact of the matter is, I think the fact that it's in a way for businesses, it's kind of a staple product. You got to have packaging. Um, can kind of smooth over, maybe compared to other um, cyclical kind of businesses or industries, it actually might be a little bit in a better shape to withstand any of these particular shocks that take place in the company. Um, so that's okay. So now when we look at what the last question ultimately is the stock cheap? Um, and so when I looked at it from a multiples perspective, the stock is trading at 22 times earnings, which is pretty pricey for a company that's really a very modest growth company in a very cyclical type of industry. When you compare it to other companies like Polymer, they're at 14 times, and another company that I found that was maybe similar, Tembec, in the paper product side of it was 11 times. So Winpak is a pretty premium product. Now, what got me interested in getting into Winpak was the stock recently fell almost 10%. And a lot of it was really due to short-term issues. There was a concern about the recent hurricanes impacting some of the plants, factories in there. So to me, that was a very short-term reaction. It was more of a it was a very short-term reaction, and just really didn't factor into the account into some really good things that are going with this company. It's a very, it's a company that's creating tangible wealth consistently and consistently, despite the fact that it operates in a very cyclical environment. Its balance sheet and financial position is pretty strong, like $200 million in cash with no debt, high quality assets. And it probably feeds into a reason why the stock trades at a bit of a premium, because it really, if you're looking at a definition of a high quality business, this is kind of what it is. A company with very steady, simple, easy demand, and it's managing its capital effectively, and it's got a management team there that's really understands this and does a really good job managing it. So to me, when I put all this stuff together, I thought it was a really good buying opportunity. So ultimately, I made the decision to buy Winpak.